So we want to cut our pumpkin along the sides. I've already done a pre-cut on both sides, but it's easier to cut your pumpkin that way. And then you want to take your scoop loop, or if you have an ice cream scoop, and just start clearing it out. So I've got my pumpkin cleared out. I'm going to cut the ends off so we don't cook that, because we don't want the stem. Be very careful because it is tricky to cut through here to get these off. Always make sure you're cutting away from your hand, not towards your hand. And then we want to begin cutting our pumpkin up. And start adding it to the blender. That stuff is going to take you roughly between 5 and 10 minutes. Once you have everything added to your blender, I've already done one of the pumpkins, so I'm just going to add the lid back onto. You will need your billy club stick. Looks like this. I call it the billy club stick because I forget the name of it, but that's okay. When the blender is on, you're going to want to very carefully push the pumpkin down to make sure that it's blended. Just be careful that you don't grind your billy club. Typically, you will add up to a cup of water. Now, if your pumpkin is a little bit dry on the inside, you may add a little bit more than a cup of water. It just varies on how much fluid your pumpkin is going to produce. Typically, when you bake the pumpkin, it produces its own liquid, and because it's releasing it. So the first pumpkin I just did a second ago was a little bit dry, so I ended up adding close to 2 cups of water just to kind of help it get going. This one's not too bad, so we will try a half a cup, and we'll push this down and start the process. We're going to turn the side button right here on so that the blender is on, and we will go over here to heated puree and hit the button. Now, once this button is pushed, you're going to see a couple of things happen. It's going to kick on and it's going to shut off, and kick on again and shut off again. What it's doing is it's warming the temperature up, and it's going to blend just a little bit at a time. So don't be alarmed if it shuts off and kicks back on. The other thing I want to warn you about is as this begins to cook up, again, your temperature is noted right here, this is going to be really hot. So once you remove it from the blender base, you want to be very careful, and I'll show you that as we get closer to it. But let's add some water and get started. Process of cooking and blending. and then it's going to go through a 30-second blend where it will come to its complete. So I just wanted to pop in here and give you a little update. Completes the process of blending. Again, I want to say that this is really hot. We're talking about like 200 degrees hot. So I'm trying to get the puree off the top here, and then you'll see all that smoke coming out. So be very careful when you are moving this over to your bowl. Let it cool for a little bit and then put it into your container, and you can refrigerate the portions that you need or freeze the entire thing until you're ready to use it. And that is how you do puree in the blender.